This is a short video going over the budget that you need to supply with your cash application. The budget is a project budget, the project for which you are requesting support, not, say, an organizational budget, although you may choose to submit an organizational budget as one of your additional support pieces. You can complete the template budget, which is found online, or you can submit a document of your own. In either case, you should submit this document as a PDF. We'll go through some of the suggested components of the template budget. So the first item under project income you'll see is grants. This should include all grants that you're applying for, including cash. You'd be surprised how many applications come in and neglect to include the application for which they are applying. So cash needs to be included as potential income. And you'll want to use the notes page to specify the status of any of the grants that you're applying for. So is it pending? Is it confirmed? Is it anticipated? These kinds of things are important. That's important information for the panel. Another item to discuss is in-kind contributions. So we often will receive things to support our work, such as complimentary space, some free consulting, fill in the blank, whatever you might be actually receiving that you're not paying for. So those items have a value. So it should be calculated in your expenses, but then canceled out by the in-kind income. So it'll have a net zero effect on your bottom line of the project. So in-kind should absolutely be included. It helps show the complete picture of the project that you're anticipating. So then the next item on income is ticket revenue. You're not required to use this line. You may not have ticket revenue, in which case, of course, you can just leave it blank. But this is, if you are expecting ticket revenue, this is a really good chance to show your professional orientation in that you really understand how ticket revenue works. So for instance, if you're doing 16 performances in a 250 seat house and the full price is $15 and you list, that comes out to $60,000 for your revenue. Is that realistic? Is it more realistic to expect a 75% capacity or a 60%? There's no judgment on what your capacity might be, but it just shows an honest anticipation of what you actually expect the revenue to be. Not only in terms of audience capacity, but also in terms of the tickets themselves. Will you be selling any tickets on tixbayarea.org, for instance, or any other discount ticketing source? You could certainly also capture comps here just to show that you're paying attention to your entire audience in this line. Again, I think it really helps make the case for professional orientation that you understand the project. So then, under expenses, there's also the note now for artistic costs. So don't feel uncomfortable at all about including a for yourself as an artist or other artists that are in the project. Panelists do tend to like to see artists get paid. So absolutely feel free to encourage to include that in your budget. Keeping in mind, all panelists are potential applicants, so they especially do like to see artists get paid. They want to see that reflected here in your budget. A couple of overall notes on the budget. The budget should demonstrate the need for the grant. So in other words, for the purposes of this application solely, it is important that this projected net income is as close to zero as possible. It isn't meant to imply that we don't hope you do make money on your project, but for the purposes of demonstrating a need for the project, if say you're applying for a $2,000 grant and you show excess on your net of $2,000 or more, in essence, you have talked yourself out of a grant. So you have not demonstrated the need for it in the project. So this should be as close to zero as possible. And be sure, of course, to check your math. If you're doing an Excel sheet, hopefully that will take care of that for you, which you're welcome to do. But if you're completing this form, be sure that everything adds up. you can be absolutely assured that at least one panelist is going to triple check your math. So don't be caught with a simple math error on your budget. So that's the video on the budget. I hope you will enjoy the other videos yet to come.